Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to be going through quite a number of things that will help us to identify the end of this bear market, because that's where we're heading. And we're looking for signs that are appearing all over the place to say that we're in the end game. That doesn't mean it can't go down further, but we need to just identify some of the signals. So today I'm going to be going through the 60-day cycle, which is absolutely critical for the next 30 days or so. I'll also go through the Hikaki pattern that's now seems to be playing out with a caution. I'll also give you my thoughts on the CPI data and the 50 basis points increase by the Fed this week. And if I've got time, I'll look at some of the other charts as well. Okay, so if that sounds interesting, then what are you waiting for? Get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. Okay, so before I start, it's very appropriate that I give you a quotation from Wayne Dyer. I don't know if you know Wayne Dyer. He's one of the personal development mentors that I've followed for many, many years, and I found some of his work extremely useful and very inspiring. And I hope you'll find the same. But it's appropriate to Bitcoin when you read one of his main quotes. And the quote is this: "If you believe it will work out, you'll see the opportunities. And if you believe it won't, you will see obstacles." And unfortunately, this is what most people are seeing now. They're just seeing obstacles, and they're leaving the crypto space, and they're leaving the opportunities to the people who have the patience. Always remember, money moves from impatient hands to patient hands. And this is where we have to become the patient hands. We have to let Bitcoin process itself out and wait for the right opportunity to pounce and to carry ourselves on the ride on the Bitcoin train. So the question is, do you see obstacles here, or do you see the opportunities? I hope you'll see the opportunities and not the obstacles. Okay, so today I'm going to start off on the daily chart. And if you've been following me on Twitter, you'll know that I've been showing you this chart over and over again for the last 1 week. And you'll know that when we had this candle here, this outside bar candle, this was a very important candle here, which nobody seemed to have spotted. And usually these outside bar candles are extremely powerful. They have the power to move the following candles in a certain way within the range of the top and the bottom of its wick. And that's exactly what it's done over here. And if you haven't been following me on the Twitter, please go over there. I do post quite a few bits and pieces in between my videos to give you updates. So I've been doing a lot of charts over the last week or so. And if you do want to follow me on Twitter, I've got the link below all of my videos. So what does this chart say? So when we printed this outside bar candle, as this candle printed, we have a very high chance of staying within the limits of the top of this wick and the bottom of this wick. So while we had a fake out over here, usually when you do get a fake out, you expect the next candle either to get back in within the range, and if it doesn't, then it invalidates that pattern. And what happened here was that the next candle came back straight in this range here. And then I put two targets down that eventually when we break, either at the top or the bottom, the two targets to look out for is the 18,200, which are based on these candles here. And I've gone through these support lines of these candles in the last few videos, and that target was 18,200. And here the bottom target was the bottom of this Marubozu candle, which led to this pattern over here, and that target was a 16,423. So eventually we've made our target of 18,200 here. And I've been saying on the Twitter as well that as soon as we hit this target, expect a rejection. And this is exactly what we got last night, a big gravestone doji candle here. And I alerted you last night, yesterday, when I said here, the nasty looking gravestone doji candle forming on the day chart, if it closes like this in 3 hours, then that is a strong signal to the downside for the coming days at least. And the 4-hour chart was very bearish with a bearish outside bar candle. So this is what actually ended up 3 hours later. So this is what we closed, and on the 4-hour chart, that bearish candle was this one here. So once again, we got another outside bar candle dominating what could happen here. Now, an outside bar candle at the top of a trend usually means this. Always remember, these patterns on the candles are short-term patterns. While they can play out in the longer term, they do have an immediate effect in the next few candles, and this is exactly what's happened here. And the reason for that is because other candlestick patterns start forming, and these are a representative of the emotions of the people who are buying and selling, and they can change at any time afterwards, but the immediate effect is what these candles determine. So now that we've met our target at the 18,200, what can we expect down here? Well, this move here started back down at this point at the 15,400, and we've been stair-stepping this all the way up here. Now we can expect a rejection to either the 61.8 level or the 78.6 level. And you can see quite clearly the 61.8 level comes to around about 16.4, 16.5, which is the target that we initially had over here. So I would expect a pullback in the next 30 days to around about this level or the 78.6, which is exactly at 16,000 down here. So look out for that. Those are the levels you need to be really looking out for. Of course, it can do anything it wants now that the immediate pattern is being played out. We could have a turnaround at the 38.2 at 17,200 over here. But when we look at the 60-day cycle, it looks more than likely with a higher degree of probability that we're going to come down a little bit lower than that. Okay, so moving on to the daily chart and the 60-day cycles that I've been showing you over the last many videos now. If you want to know the history of these cycles, then watch some of my previous videos and you'll get all the context there. But the current cycle is this. We started the current cycle here when the FTX scandal broke, and we bottomed out around about 15.5. Obviously, technically, it was 15.4 over here, but the cycle began over here. So that was the bottom. And then we have the mid-cycle here, and then the next 60-day cycle end over here, around the 8th of January. So I've been saying to you that watch the mid-cycle. That will give us a clue as to what the price may do down here. And up to this point, 17.4 was the high point, and that was before the mid-cycle point here, which means that this would have been a left translated cycle, which gives us more days for it to come down and to make a lower low from here. And I've also been saying that if we can get past the midway point and top out after it, that gives us less days to come down, and that affects the probabilities of what could possibly happen here. Please remember, nobody knows the future. We're only looking at the charts to determine the possibilities and the probabilities. There are no certainties in charts. So now that we've made a right translated cycle, i.e. we've topped out by the looks of it after the 30-day midpoint here, it gives a greater probability that we're going to have a higher low at the end of this 60-day cycle, anywhere in this region over here. And these next 30 days are absolutely critical because most bear markets in the past, and we've only got the past to look at to determine the future, they've all ended right at the end of the year, either November, December, or January. So we're right in the middle of that period. So this now becomes critical, that are we going to come to an end over here? And this is the great opportunity that I'm talking about. And the smart investors are accumulating in this region anyway, around here. And this could be the last opportunity that we have to accumulate before we go up. Yes, it can come down much further, and that may be the last and final opportunity down there, but nobody knows. So all I would say is that for me, having a core position at these levels around here in the next 30 days could prove with hindsight an amazing entry into Bitcoin. Okay, moving on to the weekly chart. People have been asking me about the Hikake pattern. Well, we're on candle 6, the final candle that can determine where it's going to go. And it could well play out to the upside yet, because we have broken the top of this candle here, which was at around about the 17,170. And I've been saying in the last many videos now that if we can get above this and close above here at the end of the week, then this Hikake pattern could play out and take everybody by surprise. The previous two candles did try to actually get above this level, but failed, and we finally made it this week. And the question is, can we hold above this level of 17,170? So we'll only know that on Sunday night, but keep an eye on this pattern. If we get below it again, then that gives you another signal that this is more likely to come back down as part of the 60-day cycle, second half. Okay, moving on to the CPI data in the US and the subsequent 50 basis points increase by the Fed the following day. So what we really had here was the expectation was 7.3% over here, but it came in at 7.1. So obviously that was very bullish, and that spooked the markets to the upside. And that led to this candle here, all the way up to 18,000. So that was the CPI data candle here. And the following day, yesterday, the confirmation that the Fed increased the interest rates by 50 basis points as opposed to the 3/4 basis points that they've been doing over the last 4 previous months seemed to have come as a relief all the way up here. But it was a sell the news event, as you can see, with all the sellers coming in at that point once we reached the target of 18,200. So currently for the December, so obviously these figures will be coming around in January. We don't actually have the consensus expectation here yet, but I would assume it's going to be around about the 7% or 6.9%. And if we can come in lower than that, and you can see the trajectory, we've come from 8.2 to 7.7, so that's a 0.5% decrease, to down to 7.1%, which is a 0.6% decrease. You can see that the aggressive policy that the Fed's been following is bringing this inflation figures down quite rapidly. So I would hazard a guess that the next actual figures are going to come around about the 6.5% mark. Only time will tell, but it seems like it's going in the right direction here. The effect that it had on the dollar, and I've been showing you this chart now for many videos, is that we came to this strong support line over here based on these support and resistance points. And this was an opportunity for the dollar to hold this support line here before it made a counter trend move up here. However, what we've got is a break to the downside, and the dollar seems to be coming up to find a test at the resistance before it may be coming to the downside. But as we know, we're in the final part of the 60-day cycle with Bitcoin. So we'll see how the dollar plays out, but it certainly lost this support line over here. And the next support is around about the 101 mark here. If we have a quick look at the junk bond market, this is the HYG chart over here. And over the last few weeks, I want to pose a question. Since around October, the junk bond market seems to be going on the upside, and they do tend to lead the way on the way down as well as on the way up. They tend to be extremely sensitive to price movements and what's going on in the markets. So they tend to make the decisions much more quicker because they're holding extremely volatile and very risky assets. So do they know something that we don't at the moment here? So only time will tell, but certainly we've made a higher low over here. But certainly this is looking quite positive going forward. Okay, so we'll leave it there. If you found value in the video, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you want to leave any comments, questions or suggestions, then leave them in the comments below. And I want to pose the question to you, and you can answer it in the comment section. And the question I want to pose is, do you believe that there are opportunities ahead, or do you believe there are still a lot of obstacles ahead? Okay, so let me know in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.